Hello and welcome to another episode of the Saints FC podcast. This week I am absolutely delighted and thrilled to be bringing you probably the greatest Southampton football player of all time, certainly the most talented player I've ever seen play in the red and white stripes, arguably the person who has kind of most made me enthralled with football, and that is, of course, Matthew Le Tissier. We have him answering questions from Saints fans who are in an audience of a fantastic event which ran in Revolution back on the 22nd of March, an evening with Matthew Le Tissier, run by Scott and Fitz, who run lots of events with ex-football players, cricketers, and invited me to come down, meet Matt and record the question and answer part of the show. It's a little shorter episode than normal. One of the reasons for that is when you go and see Matthew Le Tissier chatting live in front of a pub audience, you get some stuff which is maybe a little bit too hot for the podcast. So we've had to cut some really great stuff out, which is a terrible shame, but I suppose that's a good reason for you to go and seek out one of these events. And if you ever get the chance to go and see Matthew Le Tissier speaking live at one of these An Evening With events, I thoroughly recommend going to do that. The next big name that they've got coming up is Paul Gascoigne, who will be speaking at an event in Bournemouth in early April. So if you fancy finding out about that, type into Google An Evening With Paul Gascoigne and you'll find out the information that you need to see. As always, please do get in contact with the podcast. You can email us, saintsfcpodcast@gmail.com. You can contact us on Twitter @saintsfcpodcast. You can even leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you really love the show and you want to tell the rest of the world what you've been enjoying about it. Beer 52 have continued their sponsorship of the podcast. I'm absolutely delighted about that. And the good news for you is that if you haven't already made use of your free box of beer from Beer 52, you can still do so. So if you want to get your hands on a free box of 10 beautifully selected craft beers, all you have to do is head to www.beer52.com/saints. You'll need to pay the £5.95 for postage, and your box will come with 10 lovely hand-selected craft beers for all of you beer connoisseurs out there, along with a nice little salty snack to go with the beers and a magazine as well, telling you about each of the different beers that you'll have in your box. It is a subscription service, so you do sign up for a monthly subscription to the beer. This month's beer was Irish themed, so getting you in the mood for St. Paddy's Day. Some fantastic beers in there. You can choose between kind of whether you like kind of darker beers or lighter and hoppy beers, but definitely worth it. So beer52.com/saints. You pay £5.95 for the postage. Sign up for one of their monthly plans. If you decide it's not for you, you can cancel that even immediately after your free trial. Anyway, let's head over, cast our minds back to the 22nd of March, upstairs in Revolution in Southampton, and an audience with the Saints legend, that is Matthew Le Tissier.
And to lead him through the Q&A section of the next portion, will you please welcome my mate and interviewer for the evening, Fitzy.
Okay, we've got loads of questions here, Matt. Loads and loads of questions. Right, so Matt, here we go. We're going to run through the questions. If we've got time, we'll take a few impromptu ones from the floor, but we see how we get on. The first one is from James O. Do you regret not going to a bigger club in terms of your England career? Do you regret not leaving Southampton? Do you think if you had done it would have helped you with England?
Secondly, the second question first. I think if I would have moved, it probably would have helped, which is a sad indictment of the game, really, because I don't think it should matter who you play for. If you're playing well, you're playing well, and you should get picked. And that was the way I thought about things. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the 8 caps that I got playing for Southampton, because I know that getting 8 caps for Southampton is probably the equivalent of getting about 50 if you play for Man United and you're an average player.
Yeah.
Not mentioning any names in particular. Phil Neville.
Good. Okay, moving on, Matt.
Did I say that out loud then?
You did, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Phil Neville. Dave H. Is Dave here? Where's Dave H? There he is at the second row. What do you think the future direction is of Saints under the new Chinese owners?
Yeah, good question. Hopefully, it's not the direction we go in this frigging season. It's always difficult. I don't think there's been actually too many changes in terms of the structure at the top of the club. I think the investments obviously been made, and they've been told to just carry on what you were doing. Unfortunately, I think we've probably made a couple of mistakes in terms of the managers that were appointed.
Yeah.
We were a little bit spoilt with. We got very, very fortunate with Pochettino, who's turning out to be a terrific manager.
Yes.
Ronald Koeman did a great job for us. That was sad. I was really sad when Ronald left. I thought he had a real good thing going here, and I just thought it was a shame. So hopefully we can get the investment into the club that's going to mean we can get back to where we were a couple of seasons ago. If we can be challenging, we've got to be realistic. If we can be challenging in the top half of the table, then I think that's the level where we can get to realistically.
Yeah.
If you have a freak season like Leicester did, that's all well and good. But realistically, if we can be challenging for the top half of the Premier League and playing a strong team in the cup competition, so we can have a real good run in them.
Yeah.
I don't think you can ask for much more.
Okay.
I think if you can do that, I think you have a happy crowd, which it hasn't been over the last couple of years because the quality of the football hasn't been good enough. We've got to be realistic. We were spoilt a little bit, but the last 2 seasons we haven't looked like scoring many goals. And let's be honest, we go to football because we want to see people score goals. It's lovely to win, but you want your team to play well and give you something to talk about at the end of the game. There's been too many games where the crowd have come away from St Mary's and gone, geez, that was freaking hard work watching that.
Yeah,
and that's not right.
Good answer. This is an anonymous one. So, did your secretary want you to play for Pompey? Not sure what that's about at all.
I know what that's about.
You know what that's about,
Yeah.
okay.
When I had my...
Does your secretary know what that's about?
Yeah, she does. When I
Okay.
had my testimonial year, the lady who was the secretary of my testimonial year was a Portsmouth season ticket holder.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Moving on, Matt Terry. I'm not sure if this is the 101 X Factor, but Matt Terry. How did you feel scoring the last goal at the Dell against the Gooners?
That was just an unbelievable feeling. I was told on the Tuesday before that game by Stuart Gray, because I'd been injured most of that season.
Right.
I hadn't scored a Premier League goal all season. I just got back to a semblance of fitness, if you can call it that. But
A semblance of fitness.
I wasn't injured, let's put it that way.
Good.
And Stuart said to myself and to Franny Benali on the Tuesday before the game, he pulled us both to one side in training and went, look, you're going to be on the bench on the weekend. You, at the end of the game, when that final whistle goes, you and Franny, I promise you now, will be on the pitch because of what you've done for the football club. You deserve to be on the pitch at the end of that. And I just thought it was a lovely gesture from Stuart to do that.
That's a class
Yeah,
act.
just show there is room for sentiment in football a little bit. And I don't think Stuart really expected what happened to happen, to be honest. But I'll be honest, I went to bed, this is how sad I am, I went to bed every night knowing from that day, and every night I went to bed, I fell asleep imagining scoring the last goal at the Dell. And I every night I just went, I want to do that. This is my destiny. I want to be able to be the last person to score the last goal at the Dell, and I did. And it just that when that chance came, it wasn't as you saw on there, it wasn't an easy chance. It was on my weaker foot, but it was either me on my left foot or Chris Marsden, and I thought, fuck that.
I'm surprised you didn't throw him out the way.
So when the ball went in the back of the net, it was just unbelievable. And considering that I hadn't been fit and I wasn't fit, it's amazing what adrenaline can do to you. Because if you see my celebrations, James Beattie can't catch me. Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable what adrenaline can do. And I just, when it left my foot, I just knew. It was just one of those moments. As soon as it left my foot, I thought, keeper's got no chance of saving that. That's in. No. And I was away and gone. And it was just an amazing moment. And then about a minute later, Chris Marsden had a chance from the edge of the box. I don't know if anyone remembers, but he had a shot, and Alex Manninger in the Arsenal goals tipped it over the crossbar. I ran across the box, take the corner, and I felt like hugging the goalie. Just go, thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate that. So this is true as well, right? So he flicked it over the bar for a corner. So I got the ball and went to take the corner. But I knew it was like the last knock-ins of the game, and I thought, I ain't putting this in the box. You know what I mean? Fuck that. I don't know if you remember. I put the ball down. I took a short corner to Wayne Bridge, and as soon as I took the short corner, the referee blew the final whistle. I was like, get in.
Great memories. Ant Willis, can you name the top 11, starting 11 of all players that you have played with? So what's your top 11 Saints side, I guess?
That's I'll take some thinking about. Tim Flowers would probably be in goal, but we have a sport. I played with Peter Shilton as well, albeit towards the end of his career when he wasn't quite as agile. So I would probably go with Tim. I thought he was an excellent goalkeeper. Right back, I'd go with Jeff Kenner. I thought Jeff Kenner was fantastic. Yeah. Dodsey had,
I love him.
Dodsey had a longer spell at Saints, but Jeff kept him out the side at right back for a little while there, and I thought Jeff was a really good fullback. Left back, I always upset Franny because I don't pick him when I do this. Don't tell him, right?
No.
But if the older people in the room might remember, for one season we had Derek Statham at Southampton Football Club, and he was a fantastic footballer.
Yes, came from West Brom.
Came from West Brom. Had a bit of a dodgy knee, but he was just brilliant. Yes. Different class. Centre backs, you'd probably go. I mean, as a centre back pairing, Svensson and Lundekvam were very very good. But then you got somebody like Dean Richards, who was fantastic for us.
Bless him. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Mark Wright I played with. So there was I'd go as a partnership. Svensson and Lundekvam as a partnership. I'd take as the top centre back partnership. I'd have to have Rodney Wallace in the team because I thought Rodney was one of the players that I enjoyed playing alongside the most. Yeah. Along with Ronnie Eklund. It was only a short period of time that Ronnie was at the club, but loved that period of time playing football with him. Yeah. Jimmy Case would have to be in the team. Jimmy was just unbelievable. Sure. He'd be suspended for half the year in today's football, but in 1987 he was good. You know what I mean? That was, you could get away with that then. Obviously Shearer would have to be in the team. I'd have to pick myself.
Yeah, you'd have to, really.
How many is that? What am I missing? I'm missing number forward on that. I'd go with on pure ability, and if the boy had a bigger heart, and I'm not being disrespectful, but the guy had to be 110% fit before he played the game. Yeah. But when he did play the game, he was unbelievable, and that was Marian Pahars.
Okay, yeah.
He was as good on his day. What he did to Jaap Stam at Old Trafford when he nutmegged him and smashed it in the bottom corner was just phenomenal. And but he just unfortunately he wasn't as mentally strong as he should have been.
Okay. And manager Glenn Hoddle or?
There's only one manager. Bawley, bless him.
Bawley, bless him indeed. Great answer. Okay, moving on. Yes, great answer. That lady over there, she went, Jeff Kenner, I love him. Okay, John, are you going...
There's more to it than that. Oh, we don't want to know about that.
No, we don't. No.
It's not going down that route.
Are you going to join the...
List. Be careful.
from John. John Creep, you might have to help me out here, John. Are you
Yeah,
going
he's
to
at the
join is it HCE cricket? Yeah, HCE cricket team, as you promised.
I wish I had the time to play cricket. Unfortunately, golf gets in the way.
We want you to come down and play cricket
it's a
for
tough
us,
life.
Matt.
It's a tough life.
We want you to come down and play cricket for us.
I was all right at cricket. I used to be quite good. I'm not Phil Tufnell, honestly.
This is a great question. Susan, who would you like to be managed by now? So of all the managers out there now, who would be a good manager for Matt?
It's difficult because the best managers, obviously Guardiola is a phenomenal manager. Klopp is doing very well. Pochettino is doing very well. But the style of football they play, I'm not sure I'd fit into it. The high press wasn't really my thing. Do you know what? When he was at Chelsea, I really liked Mourinho. I think since he got to Man United, and I've gone right off him. I'd probably pick Guardiola if I'm honest, because he's just his Man City team. The football that they play this season has been just absolutely scintillating to watch, and they're streets ahead of any other team, and that's reflected in their league position. It's not a fluke. You know, they are that much better than everyone else this season.
He sort of had a season, saw what needed to be improved it, and they're doing it.
Spent £500 million doing it.
Yeah, well,
fine,
there you go.
Know?
Okay, question from Van.
Easier.
Van, you're going to have to help me out here with this. What do you think of Charlie Nicholas's earring? Got it.
I think Charlie is now 56, 57 years of age. I mean, the earring should have gone about 35 freaking years ago, let's be honest. But he won't have it. We tell him every week, and he just keeps putting it on, you know. He's a kid.
Okay, next one. We'll get through as many. No, it just took me about an hour to read it. Chris Hooper, do you think you had more successful football career or having a more successful career as a TV radio pundit?
To be honest, my football career was something that I was incredibly proud of. You know, as I said before, I was just a little kid from Guernsey. You can name probably 3 players from Guernsey in their whole of the history of football that have played in the top flight of the English division. So I'm incredibly proud of that. To be honest, afterwards, I just sit on the telly and talk to my mates about football. It's not, it's not rocket science. It doesn't tax you too much mentally. So it doesn't compare in my mind to what I achieved as a footballer.
Did you think, as you were coming maybe towards the last 2-3 years of your career, that punditry was going to be a route for you, or even at that time, were you thinking management?
To be honest with you, I was thinking golf every frickin' day. Management didn't really enter my head too much, and I didn't have a plan. You won't be surprised to know that. My life doesn't really revolve around making big plans. I just go with the flow and see what happens, as you can tell from when I was on the pitch sometimes. Cool. And it's just the way I live my life. If something comes along, I'll give it a go. If I enjoy it, I'll carry on doing it. And if people want to keep paying me to do it, happy days.
Sure. Excellent. Question from Rich. In reference to the Branford era, did it really go wrong at the point he walked in the dressing room and said, "Hi, I'm Ian Branford"? That's a good question.
Pretty much. I think it went wrong when he sold Alan Shearer to Blackburn, and he bought in David Speedie and Kerry Dixon, and said in the press, Dixon and Speedie will both outscore Alan Shearer this season. Alan Shearer scored 25 up till Christmas before he got injured. Kerry Dixon got 2, David Speedie, fuck all.
An average of 1 between them then. Why did you never play for Pompey? Who's asked that?
Well, you say that, but I had a phone call just after I retired from Steve Claridge, who was playing at Millwall at the time. And he rang me up and he went, Tiz, I've been giving a testimonial. Will you come and play in it for me? And I was like, yeah, no problem. That's fine, mate. He said, it's like May bank holiday, first bank holiday in May. I went, yeah, it's fine. I'm free that day. And I was just about to put the phone down. I went, where are you playing it? He went, Fratton Park. Fucking brilliant. So I kind of backed myself into a bit of a corner. And so I thought, I know what I'll do. He's obviously going to get me to put a Portsmouth shirt on. So I had my own Southampton shirt made up with number 7 Scummer written on the back. Right? So this is true story. So we go down. I get into Fratton Park. We're in the changing room before the game, and Claridge comes up to me and he went, Tiz, and he pulled out of his bag. He'd got a Southampton shirt. Right?
Okay.
And I went, you don't need that, mate. I'm sorted. I've got one. He went, right. He said, we're going to get the referee to give us a penalty in front of the Fratton end so you can take it. I went, fair enough, no problem. So we get a penalty, get 20 minutes gone, referee gives a penalty. Thanks very much, put the ball down. I stepped up and I sent the Japanese goalie they had the wrong way. And so I've ran up to the Fratton end and took my Portsmouth shirt off to reveal my Southampton shirt underneath. Fucking hell, they went mental, honestly. And then I got quite close to the stand, and then I turned round, right, to show them what I'd had written on the back, and the 3 of them that could read that were in that fucking stand. I just started getting a little bit of laughter, and I kind of got away with it. And then about 5 minutes later, I was absolutely gutted. About 5 minutes later, I mean, I'd retired and I'd put on about 2 stone at this point. Right, I wasn't fucking in the best shape, not that I ever was. And I've hit a shot from about 30 yards. Right? I won't forget it. And it's dipped over the goalkeeper. It's hit the underside of the bar and come back out again. I was fucking gutted, right? And within a split second, the Fratton end started singing, what the fucking hell was that? Oh, bastards.
Brilliant.
It's nearly one of the best goals of my career.
That turned out to be a great question that led to a great story, so that's cool. Gary, we got Gary with us, who was the pub barman at the White Swan in the 90s. And his question is, are roast potatoes one of your favourite foods still?
Honestly, I'm fucking addicted to them. They're as bad as chips. I mean, I go back. I mean, I've got family back in Guernsey. My daughter's 22 years of age now, and I still go back to Guernsey. And my daughter thinks I'm going back to see her, but I'm just going back for my mum's roast dinner. To be honest with you, joking, Keely. But I do. Yeah, I'm a bit partial to a roast potato, especially the ones down at the White Swan. They're good quality. Them. I still go there occasionally.
You've already sort of covered this really, but there's a follow-up question. So the question was, do you think Glenn Hoddle ruined your international career? Because I do, says Neil. It says, because any other manager would have selected you. Any of the other England managers around that era, would you have liked to sort of play for there?
To be honest, I've got to say, when Glenn left me out, I was playing all right for Southampton. I had a decent season. I broke my arm at the start of that season, but I finished the season pretty strongly. But when Terry Venables dropped me, and that was the season I scored like 30 goals.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd actually say Terry Venables was actually more of a for dropping me, because I was actually playing better when he was manager than what Glenn was.
A question from Rusty, and obviously we've touched on your lack of appetite for management. It says, would you consider being a Saints manager if fate allowed? So, say, for example, Saints said, come on, Matt, we really need you to do this. Even if it's half a season, keep us up. Matt, Le God, saviour of Saints. You'd do it, wouldn't you?
Listen, I've always said that I'd love to be involved at Southampton Football Club at some point in the future. In what role that is, you know, that's neither here nor there. I would do anything to help the football club. If they said to me, you know, we've got no other option, can you manage us for the last 8 games? I don't have any qualifications in terms of coaching badges and all that shit. So I mean, you were allowed to do it temporarily, I think, because Shearer did it at Newcastle. I certainly couldn't have done no worse than the last one. You're right.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's not something that I actively go after, if I'm honest.
Sure.
It's not my cup of tea, really.
Just covering the change of managers now with Mark Hughes. What for you technically was the missing ingredients, and will Mark Hughes actually bring that to the table as the new manager?
I think the missing ingredient was not trying something a little bit different. I just saw the same tactics employed week after week and not getting results from it, and thinking, it's not working. Try something different. Just try something different, and it's not rocket science. And I think that's probably been the most frustrating thing for me watching this season, is that there wasn't enough variety in terms of the formation and the tactics.
Sure.
There was plenty of player changes, but it was a lot of the same tactics being used and the same formation being used, and it just wasn't working.
Sure. A question from Mark Dowling. I'm just going to go the last few. If I haven't asked this because it's either been sort of covered already or I haven't been able to read it. Mark Dowling, which footballers inspired you? Obviously, other than Glenn Hoddle, which footballers inspired you as a young footballer?
This just goes to show how impartial I am, really. Obviously, as a kid, I was supporting Tottenham, but Liam Brady at Arsenal.
Yeah.
I thought was a fantastic footballer. You've got to be a certain age to, probably older than me, to remember Liam Brady. But as a midfielder, he had a wand of a left foot, one of the best left foots I've seen. And
yes.
He was one of the players that I looked up to. And kind of people like Ozzy Ardiles, Frank Worthington. I saw the back end of Frank's career.
Sure.
Loved the way that he played his football. He just played it like he didn't give a shit. And I took that on.
Good. Fair enough.
It was the way to get the best out of myself.
Question from Carol. Where's Carol? Carol, there's Carol there. So Carol asks, can you come out of retirement and play against West Ham?
Yeah, I'm not sure you'd want a 15.5 stone 49-year-old in your team at this time. I'd quite happily sit on the bench if we got a penalty in the last minute. I'll be straight on there, don't worry about that. I can still do that bit.
Another question here from James. Did you ever score a header?
Oh.
Not sure where that's... Where's James?
Who's James?
Yeah, I don't know where he is. He's hiding.
You're James. How old are you, James? 39. Okay. I scored 209 goals in my career. How many of them do you think were headers? 21.
21 headers.
One in every 10 games. Correct. One in every 10 goals was a header. So actually, Laurie McManamy was wrong when he said I was shit in the air.
Yeah. So we're going to draw the raffle soon, and we'll need the raffle prizes if we haven't already got them down, guys. But before we let you go, Matt, can I ask you, what's your prediction in terms of where Saints are going to finish at the end of this season, and what needs to happen to push them on next season, get them into the top half of the table, as you've said?
I don't think it would take, with that squad, it wouldn't take too much to get us in the top half of the table. At the minute, we're only kind of probably half a dozen points away from the top half of the table. So
it's condensed.
It's very condensed down there. So it doesn't take a huge turnaround. It just takes a little bit more positivity in the tactics and the formation. It was nice to see two up front on the weekend. That made a nice change, and I think that got everybody on side with the manager straight away when the team sheet came out. So
sure.
So that's something that needs to be done. I think the key games for me are the West Ham game,
sure,
the Swansea away game, and the Bournemouth at home. I think those three games, if we take 7 points out of those three games, I think we stay up.
Okay. And then signings-wise, what needs to happen in the summer to get us sort of safely into that top half? Yeah,
I'd say I think we need to freshen up the positions behind the striker.
Yeah.
I think Tadic has gone stale. I think he's had a poor season. I think Redmond's been poor. Those positions, for me, have been probably the biggest problem. Boufal does... it's difficult for me to criticise someone who's a bit inconsistent, but like the pot calling the kettle black. But there's not been enough end product. Even when I was shit, I had an end product sometimes. Yeah.
I can't see him scoring 200 goals for Saints, Matt.
No. So I think those for me are the positions that need strengthening more than any.
Sure. Well, Matt, do stay with us just for a moment or two. So we're going to draw the raffle. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, what a class act. The legend that is Matt Le Tissier.
So there we have it. Fantastic little chat with Matthew Le Tissier there. They do say that you should never meet your heroes, but I can say that if Matthew Le Tissier is your hero, there's absolutely no danger in meeting him. He is as brilliant as you would expect him to be. He's really, really charming, really friendly. I got a chance to have a little chat with him just in the bar before the event, and probably unsurprising, I think quite a lot of you have probably met Matthew Le Tissier before, but absolutely charming gentleman, really, really great guy. So there we go. Big thanks to Scott and Fitz from An Evening With. Remember, do get hold of your free beer, beer52.com/saints if you want to do that. Do get in contact with the podcast. Let us know what you think of that question and answer session with Matthew Le Tissier. Let us know what you think of the new manager, and tell us about how excited you are about being in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Anyway, that's it from me. I do hope that you enjoy the rest of your week, and up the Saints.